Hello and welcome, this is EagleEye621, and today we're back for part 2 of our Unbreakable Security. This will be an iCard and a link in the description to part 1, where I went over if you're playing on a friendly server or could somehow protect your chunks from other people being able to mine and place blocks. Today we're back if you're on a less friendly server and destructive means are okay. So first things first and most obvious, you need some Elder Guardians in order to prevent them from just mining into your base. Now, in Java, these things will affect you with mining fatigue once every 60 seconds. So to prevent people from just taking a bucket of milk and being able to drink it and then mine into your base, you are going to want more than one. I'm not going to place any down because it's very annoying to just watch it continue to flash at you. But that is the first necessary step. And with pickaxes out of the way, the first thing that people are going to try and do are to TNT in. And that's why we used these blocks here that are impervious to TNT, as you can see as we light this off on top. But this does have a fatal flaw, and that is right here in front. While the blocks are impervious to TNT, that iron door you place down in the front is not. So now they have access to your base. So your next thought might be to do something like this, that is, replace your door with some blocks that are impervious to TNT. So you can see we can light this up, and obviously it won't do anything to the door. And then you can have a system, I didn't make a lock, and I'll show you why, where you depower it in order to open up the door, and you power it in order to close it again, and that prevents them from just slapping a lever on the side. But there is a huge problem with this, and that's shown right here in this chest, and that is they can just grab those blocks. So if I do something like this, where I have some 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we put some sticky pistons down like this, and we put our levers down without mining anything, you can see that we can push that in and retract the blocks and retract our pistons. And of course, I did this one block too short, so let's put that back again and pretend I didn't need to just remove that. And grab them, grab it, grab, and we can now gain entrance into the secure base. So movable objects that can block TNT are not good. Now there is also one other issue you may have, and I will show you by putting this back. While these blocks look like they are TNT proof, and indeed they won't be destroyed, something very interesting happens when you try and jam them into corners. So if I just put some TNT like that, I fly around to the side, you can see it blinking through, and sure enough, you can actually glitch some TNT inside those spaces and blow the whole thing up. And either it will completely lock you out of it, or depending on how it breaks, it will allow them to get in. So this obviously does not work either. So we need to have a flat wall, and we can't use blocks that can be pushed or pulled by pistons, and we also can't use anything that will explode to TNT. So what exactly are we going to do? And you can see we have a nice box of obsidian right here. We have a keycard with a very important message. Subscribe to EagleEye. Let's get that into the inventory and check out that message. Don't forget about that second part. But how is this keycard going to help us get inside this obsidian box? This crying obsidian and obsidian, just for a little bit of a pattern. You can see it is surrounded on all sides. So how do you get in even though they can't? And we did make a little extra mark just right here. Let's see what happens if we throw our keycard directly on top. And we're in. And we used a ender pearl stasis chamber and a key system in order to get us in. You can see this is completely surrounded on all sides. So how do we get out? And let's grab some of these ender pearls, and you can see what you're going to need to make this. You can take a screenshot, but I'll show you that again in a moment. We can climb through a ladder, and this is the same technique as my breaking bedrock. Aim for the top right here and throw that ender pearl. and then you can just jump out. And you can do this in survival, and you won't take any damage at all. So now we can get back out, and you know how to get in. But we did miss one important step, and I will explain to you as we build this why we need to make sure we do something else. So let's clear the inventory, and let's take a look at those materials. As I said, you're going to want some building blocks. You're going to need 2 comparators, 2 pistons. One of them has to be sticky, although one of them does not have to be sticky. A dispenser, a double chest, a hopper, a rail, a minecart with hopper, and 2 observers. Then you're also going to want some soul sand, and this is to indicate an infinite water source. You're going to need a couple more, and some redstone, plus your ladders to get out with more ender pearls, and your keys. So let's start building, and the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put this one off the ground and put a hopper just like this, facing down, doesn't matter. And then we're going to take a couple more blocks so that we can put a comparator reading out of that hopper and 2 bits of redstone. And that redstone is going to fire into a piston. Now this is the one that can be a regular piston if you want. I just use a sticky piston because it's easier in my inventory. We're also going to want to put a double chest down just like this, and a hopper down into that. And then we can have our dispenser facing in that direction and have our hoppers pointing into that dispenser. So you can see we have 2 facing down and then 2 going into this dispenser. And then from that, we're going to have a comparator reading from that dispenser with a sticky piston, the block below that comparator, and our observers, one facing in, that being the one on the sticky piston, and one facing out. So these will face into each other when that goes in there. And now we're going to need to set up our little stasis pod. And to do that, we're going to put some more blocks down just like this. And the amount is important. You want there to be 7 water blocks. So this is going to be the first one. Then this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Some counting with Eagle Eye 621. But we also want to make sure there's enough room for our soul sand. So that would be the 8th. Some quick math with Eagle Eye 621. And then we're going to put our water. And these do have to be source blocks. You can use ice. You can use one source with kelp, however you'd like. And you can see that once we have these bubbles, it does indicate that it is a source. And take our ender pearl and throw them directly down. Just like this. You will see that it will float back up. And of course, we need to put our key in. And our key goes into this hopper right here, the one facing down into this block. Now, if you don't want to give them any chance at all, then you take 6 identical books and you make sure that one is in each slot. If you do want to give them a chance, then you can use a different item. And again, make sure all the slots are filled and then put the rest in there so that you have the 1 extra. And you'll notice that the piston does not extend. Now we can bring this up to wherever our roof is going to be. So if our roof is going to be right here, this is the top of our bunker. Then when there is 1 block left, you can see, that is where we put our rail and our hopper minecart. So now what does all of this do? Well, first of all, we have a key mechanism that won't accept any items, and we have a storage mechanism that will tell you if somebody is trying to sneak in. So if they throw a stone block, for example, that will get picked up through the floor, and that will end up in the chest, and you'll be able to tell that somebody is trying to break in order to prevent them from just jamming this up and filling up all of these hoppers by throwing in a lot of items, which could lock you out of your own thing. We do have the system where it's hooked up to a dispenser. So after this chest fills up and this hopper fills up, all the extra items will end up in this dispenser, and it will just spit them out onto the ground where they will despawn, which you don't care about. But if you throw the correct item, And in this particular thing, we're using our little key card here, the doors that have been renamed. Once you throw in that last one, you will see that piston extend. And that means that we get teleported because that ender pearl has been hit. So now what I didn't do in the first one, which is important to show you what's going on here, and let's just break our way in. The first thing that you need to do when you get into your bunker is come over to your key system and remove the key that you just placed, which you can see will cause this piston to retract, and then throw down your ender pearl directly into your chamber stasis so that you can get back in again, or else you will be locked out and have some trouble getting back into your base. Now, you can have an ender pearl in stasis, and you can throw any more ender pearls you want, and that won't make this one disappear. However, if you die while this is in a loaded chunk, the ender pearl will despawn and go away. So I do highly recommend that if you're building the system, you build this secret bunker in a chunk far away from your main base. Do not build it in the spawn chunks. That way, if you die, the ender pearl will not despawn and you are not locked back out. Then you can go back and do whatever you need to do in your secret bunker. Use your ladders to climb back out and your ender pearl to get out again, and be on your merry way until you need to get back in. Throw your item down. It will suck you right back in because of that ender pearl. Again, the very first thing you want to do is take that key back out and throw your ender pearl back down so that it is primed and ready for you the next time you need it. And I should not have flown, because now I can't do this normally. And ender pearl out again, and be on your merry way. This video is dragging on a little bit, so I'm not going to go into how to block some of the more cheaty methods like chorus fruit and bedrock breakers and some other little techniques. If there is interest in that, do be sure to comment down below, and I will do a final part 3 to make a completely impregnable cube, which you definitely don't want to restrict your own access to, or you'll lose all your stuff. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like. If you found it interesting, maybe even share it with one of your friends or your favorite Minecraft YouTuber to see if they will build this in their world. And for more videos like this, do be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Thanks for stopping by.